Hi, sorry about that. Unable to connect to the server for some odd reason. We are back here, though. We got J.R. Smith, Chauncey Billups news, Nash, Odin, and a lot more here today. Kobe Bryant's returning, what Steve Nash thinks. Let's first go ahead and talk about Greg Oden. Actually, wait, before we even talk about that, I want to tell you this. You can, I don't know if I should do this. You can call 949-456-2911, or you can tweet me at SM_Cameron, or you can text me 949-456-2911. Yes, I'm opening up the phones, I'm opening up everything. So you can say whatever you want on, well, not whatever you want, just don't say anything sexually charged, politically charged, racially charged, you know what to say. Don't say anything stupid, basically. NBA Today with Cameron Sadeghi, go right ahead. Also, there's a green comment bubble right in the right corner. Type away. Type away and tell me what you think is going on in the NBA. Greg Oden, looking good in the workouts, according to Mark Stein of ESPN.com. Lean, moving well. The Pelicans and the Heat are the really two choices. He says that it will be better if he has less pressure to succeed, so he may not go to Miami. But I've heard NBA scout Tim Hardaway, yes, it is Tim Hardaway, the former NBA player, with the great crossovers and all that. He says that if they add Greg Oden to the piece, they're definitely winning an NBA championship this year. So I gotta say the same thing too. Here you've got Oden, who can be a huge fit into their offense. You know, look, with Oden, I don't get this whole pressure thing. I really don't. I mean, look, I don't know. We're the outside looking in, so I can't tell whether or not Oden's knees are good to go for 5 years down the line. But if he's got 2 more years left in him, and he knows he's only got 2 years left in him, go to Miami. I mean, you got the opportunity to play with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Birdman, Haslam, and the rest of the crew. So I think it would be great. If you go to the Pelicans, I mean, look, are they a good team? Are they a good team for the future? I've said this time and time again. 4 to 5 years from now, they can be a championship contender. I really mean that. They can be a championship contender 4 to 5 years from now. Now, is Oden willing to have that patience? I don't know. So, if you don't have the patience, if you don't have that much left in your career, make the solid decision. Take your talents to South Beach. That's my suggestion to you, Greg Oden. Comment, call, green bubble, 949-456-2911, 949-456-2911. Let's go to Steve Nash. And yes, he used to be a soccer player, but he wants to be a soccer player now. The Inter Milan soccer team, he wants to try out for them. That really surprises me. Look, I don't think this will help him at all. I think his career for basketball is completely over. And when you look at Nash, I can't tell if this guy, I mean, at the age of 39, 40, he can't play the D. I mean, he's never been a good defender, but you think he's going to be a good defender now at the age of 39? I mean, no. I mean, you'd be crazy to think that. And then, look, just this whole Lakers dynamic and what they're going to do and how they're going to do things, they're really in trouble. I mean, they're not making the playoffs this year. I've said that countless times. They're not going anywhere. Okay? They're not getting the 8th seed. I can guarantee you that. You're going to tell me... look, I think the Pelicans can make the playoffs. I mean, you got a chance right there. I mean, you got so many good teams in the West. I mean, Dallas maybe with Monte Ellis and a hobbling Dirk. I mean, you look at so many teams out there. Utah, I don't know. Houston's going to be a huge cog in the West. So, again, there's a lot to look out for. And if this Lakers team really has a chance, Steve Nash needs to be working on basketball, not soccer. Okay? I know he wants to get in shape. I get all that. Okay, that's great. But go work on your defensive slides or something. I mean, I don't want to see you getting assists in hockey. I mean, not in hockey, in soccer, rather. What am I talking about? In soccer, I want to see you getting more assists in the actual NBA game on a 94-foot floor. I want to see you make that big steal. I want to see you intercept that pass. I want to see you shut down Ty Lawson. I don't want to see you on a soccer field for 90 minutes. If you're really that committed to coming back to the game, go on the hardwood, not the grass. So Nash, if you want to play this season, go into your local indoor gym. Don't go to your local indoor soccer field. That's just my suggestion for Steve Nash. And he says, Kobe Bryant, the sky's the limit. I mean, look, Kobe is done. I mean, he really is. You look at him physically. I don't think anybody in their right mind can say, this guy can lead a team to a championship again. No. Coming off that injury, he's going to be back probably Christmas. He's going to be out of shape. Look, as great as he is, Kobe Bean Bryant, you can't put that load on a guy who's played in this league since the age of 18 or 17. You can't put that load. That's too big. He can't be covering the best guy for 48 minutes and then carrying the offensive load at that age with all that wear and tear. So the Lakers are really stuck between a rock and a hard place. They can't go anywhere now. They're just stuck right down the middle. They can't go anywhere. So for people to, like kind of be a little delusional and say, oh, it's still the Lakers franchise, the Lakers mystique, the Lakers. No. They're not making the playoffs. They've got no shot. They got a terrible bench. They've got a coach who's really in an identity crisis. I feel bad for D'Antoni. D'Antoni has to suffer through a team that's slow, not quick, doesn't have the skill set doesn't match the coaching for D'Antoni, and it's unfair. I mean, he took the job, he could have declined, but his play style doesn't correlate to the team's skill set. And when you don't have that connection, you're never going to win a championship. You're never going to go to the playoffs. I mean, you can out-talent people, that's what I call it, out-talent people, like the Lakers did last year. And it helps to get a few calls, too. That's a whole nother topic for discussion on another day. But, all joking aside, there's no way D'Antoni's going to have success unless if he scratches his entire offense and makes it Gasol-oriented. We're going to go in a Gasol. We're putting everything in a Gasol. We're going to make everything through Gasol. It's going to be very difficult for them. And unfortunately, no championship, no playoffs. Sorry, Lakers, but the season is gone for you guys. Even at this point. from the outside looking in, I don't want my starting point guard to be on a soccer field. I want him to be in the gym. Not in a soccer field. On a soccer field, rather. Instead of cleats, let's have gym shoes. Okay? Instead of working on your soccer dribbling skills, let's work on your defensive stances. I know that's a harsh reality, but it's true. A change is necessary in LA. Okay, let's go to Chauncey Billups. He is a Piston. A Detroit Piston. I like the move. I really do, and I like what the Detroit Pistons are doing here. You know what? I'm going to make a bold prediction. The Detroit Pistons will make the NBA playoffs. And you know what? They could be the 6th seed. The way their team looks. According to Kurt Helen of NBC Sports Pro Basketball Talk, the headline says Pistons might keep Chauncey Billups around after this season, and then ... the little ellipse. In the front office. And rightfully so. Chauncey Billups is one of the smartest basketball players I think that this game has ever seen. This guy, his IQ for the game is off the charts. And he may not be the most athletic guy, he may not be the most talented guy, but when you need to be in the right spot, at the right time, big shots, good defense, good game manager, he's like one of those guys who you love to have when there's chaos. You know, that's like the true definition of leader. It's not how you respond when things are going well and everybody's happy. No. It's when things go wrong. When chaos ensues, the team is on a 12-game losing streak, you don't know what to do, but you look up to your veteran, Chauncey Billups, to resolve things. And 10 times out of 10, he's going to resolve it. He's the coach on the floor. The guy who can communicate the coach's message. That's special. And I think Billups can really transfer that into the front office or the Pistons. They need an extra basketball mind. And Billups understands the game today. The globalized and how different the game is today. So, what the Pistons are doing, I'm very proud of this organization. What these guys have done over the course of these horrifying years, I mean, with John Kuester, who was one of the worst head coaches in the history of the NBA. That's harsh, but it was true. You know when you're not a good coach when all the veterans lose respect of you. When you get ejected and Tracy McGrady is laughing, Ben Wallace is laughing, and all the veterans are laughing, and they boycott warm-ups, they boycott shoot-around, and you only have 4 people in shoot-around. 5 people in shoot-around, 6 people in shoot-around. You know you're a disgrace as a head coach. That's what John Kuester was. I mean, every single time I saw John Kuester coach, I just wanted to, I thought they should have fired him halfway through that season. They waited way too long to fire him. He's an assistant now, but he just doesn't know how to handle players. He doesn't respect the players. Yes, do our NBA players kind of prima donnas? Okay, I'm not the first one here to admit that. But again, there's no excuse to telling your team that they're terrible or that the team is not up to par. I mean, basically demeaning your team, belittling your team. That's not appropriate. And finally, they have Maurice Cheeks, the great assistant they got from Oklahoma City. Maurice Cheeks, he is by far one of the great basketball people. And you know what I like about Maurice Cheeks? He understands personalities, and he understands how to make everyone cooperate together. And that's the biggest element that this basketball organization has been missing throughout this entire demise, basically, of everything. They finally are back on track. So you got Josh Smith, you got Drummond, you got Sutton, you got Monroe, Billups, Knight. Brandon Knight is a great player. I don't care what anyone says about the Kyrie Irving and the DeAndre Jordan. I like Brandon Knight as a basketball player. If you were to ask me, I want Brandon Knight on my basketball team. So, I kind of feel bad for Brandon Knight because, okay, he got dunked on, but everybody in the world gets dunked on. It's a harsh reality. Charles Barkley said, when he came into the league, I'm never going to get dunked on, but then he said, after you get dunked on the first 25 times, you realize it just is a normal thing. So, again, everybody gets dunked on, it's okay. So, I know, I digress, but look, Billups is going to help with the leadership. They need some veteran leadership. They kind of do with Josh Smith, but Josh Smith at times, in Atlanta, at times I was disappointed at Josh Smith a little bit. I didn't think he took guys under his wing and said, I'm going to take you to the promised land. I didn't want to see that with Josh Smith. And I hope that Billups shows him and leads by example for Smith. And if he does that for Smith, Josh Smith can be a scary player in this league. He'll be a superstar in this league if he just masters that one skill, intangible. You can't measure it. You can't record that intangible. But that separates you from champion, or that separates you more like from contender to pretender. Josh Smith has really been a pretender. If he masters that skill, he'll become a contender. Let's talk and move on somewhere in the East where a team is kind of really in some trouble. They did make the playoffs of the 8th seed against the Miami Heat, but got swept, put in the trash. Get your dustpans, get your brooms. That's what happened to the Milwaukee Bucks against the Miami Heat last year. They got Gary Neal, everybody. Gary Neal is almost done with a Buck signing, and Gary Neal from the Spurs, the Bucks and the Hawks, not the Bucks, but the Bucks and the Hawks were the two contenders to get him, but he will be a Milwaukee Buck. Look, I get how they're rebuilding, but I just don't see this as a good move. I mean, if you're going to put him as the starting point guard, and you know what? I have a problem with Gary Neal. He's a bit of a gunner. Like, even during the NBA Finals, I know he was like, he was a product of great ball movement, and I get all that. But you can't tell me that he doesn't take bad shots. I mean, Greg Popovich scratches his head whenever... I mean, last year, there were some... Gary Neal goes wild sometimes. He really does. He goes out of the offense. He takes bad shots. When you don't have a good system in place. I don't see the Bucks having a good system in place. So, if you're a Milwaukee Buck fan, watch out for some wild shots from Gary Neal. I mean, Gary Neal, at times, he's just got to calm it down. Okay? And same with Brandon Jennings. I mean, okay, dare I say this, but the Bucks had a chance to win one game against the Heat in that series. Okay, I mean, the games were kind of close all the way. I mean, they were tied at halftime, every single game, basically. But in the third quarter, turnover, bad shot, turnover, bad defensive assignment, turnover, or missed assignment, turnover. All of a sudden, they're down in a 15-point hole against the Miami Heat. That's inexcusable. When you're the point guard or you're the leader of the team and you see, oh no, the game's getting away from us, slow the tempo down. If Brandon Jennings and Gary Neal get those, if they find that trait and they say, hey, the game's slipping away, let's slow it down. We're fine. We're still in this. If they did that more often, Gary Neal would have more value and Brandon Jennings would be a top 5 point guard. So, I mean, look at all the point guards we have. Chris Paul. Why is Chris Paul the best point guard? They say he's a game manager. He doesn't take that many shots. I mean, everybody says, oh, Chris Paul, he's not really that impressive. I mean, he doesn't do these crazy dribbles. He doesn't break people's ankles all the time. No, you know why he's amazing? It's because when chaos happens, when everything is going wrong, pulls it back out, let's get into the offense. Can Brandon Jennings do that? Rajon Rondo does. Darren Williams does. Can he do it? Can Brandon Jennings and Gary Neal both do it? That's the big question heading in for the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, call 949-456-2911, 949-456-2911. Tweet me at SM_Cameron. Or you can text me at 949-456-2911. Or you know what, I'll even let a call. Go ahead, 949-456-2911. Let's go on to J.R. Smith news. J.R. Smith, Rihanna. Okay, we're not talking about that. That was a huge distraction in last year's playoffs. All of a sudden, you get... Okay, you know when things are a distraction when you get Mike Breen from ABC and Jeff Van Gundy talking about it? Okay, and then all these bad jokes came about. I can't even say them, but you know how the Twitter world is. When they hear, oh, J.R. Smith and Rihanna, you know all the things that are going to come out. What they're going to say. But, in other news, 3 years, $17 million contract. Some of you say, oh, J.R. Smith. Well, he actually agreed to a 2-year deal worth $11 million with a player option, but it calculates to this at the end of the day. You know what J.R. Smith did? He just made his payday even better. He got 50% of his base salary. 50%. Okay? Why? I don't know. Maybe is J.R. Smith in money trouble? No, I'm not going to say that. You're going to get like Skip Bayless. Oh my God, J.R. Smith. He's got huge money issues. No. J.R. Smith is fine. I just thought it was interesting that he was willing to decide, hey, I'm going to take half of this pie earlier and have my dessert before any of you guys do. I mean, that's typical J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith is like that guy that you go to. He's like that LA Fitness guy, and I have a rant about LA Fitness when we get to the end of the show. He's like that LA Fitness guy who floats around the three-point line, keeps bricking and missing, taking fadeaways, but when he makes that three, he's all up in your grill. He's goose-egging down the court, bumping gums, getting into your head. Maybe he might do a head bump on the way, chest bump on the way. He's the guy that'll try to break you down off the dribble and go ISO, 1-on-5, but then when it's time to go play defense, he acts like he's in a defensive stance, but all he does is yell, "Ha!" to try to stop shots. But it really doesn't work, but then no one criticizes him because he is the guy that is going to go down the floor next and chuck up that 30-footer that will just brick off the back iron. That is J.R. Smith, everybody. J.R. Smith is the guy that's so typical J.R. Smith right there, to take half of your salary this early. Yes, were you the sixth man of the year? Of course. Did you do a great job last year? Of course. But did you really need to do it? No. You already made a lot of money. I don't know if JR has any money issues. If he does, I'd be kind of disappointed because, come on, JR, you've been in this league for how long, making millions of dollars, and you're not willing to keep the money? Keep it safe? Come on. It's amazing how many players you see go broke. Okay, your friends say, "Hey, JR, give me a $1 because I need to go buy this house or whatever." Don't say yes. You know what Charles Barkley said on NBA TV Open Court? The magic word is no. Some of these players, they go broke because, and Charles said this too, like he said, especially when you're in a neighborhood with, you know, a bad neighborhood, they may say, "Hey, you know, I've supported you so long and all this, and you're not going to give me." It's like, it's kind of so immature on everybody else's part to kind of mooch off of players with big money. Okay, it's one thing to go get your mom a house, a car, your dad a house, a car, your brother, your sister a house, a car. Okay, that's great. You should do that. That's kind of an obligation. But if you're not getting your money back, I mean, Charles Barkley said he's lost millions of dollars. So maybe that's why kind of Charles is holding on to that job. Ooh, I kind of stirred the plate there. That's not good. So JR and the Knicks, what do I see them doing this year? I see the exact same thing. They're gonna lose to the Pacers again next year. They just don't have... You know what I see with the Knicks? Composure and poise on the floor. Like, there have been so many key moments where, especially Raymond Felton, oh my God. Raymond Felton. I like Raymond Felton a lot. I think he's a great point guard. He's a tough point guard. He can post you up. Big guy, strong guy, good passer, great shooter. But when he feels like somebody gave him the wrong call, I mean, he just like flips out. He starts running down the floor, tries to pull these John Starks antics. That doesn't send a good message to your team. Do I trust Mike Woodson as a head coach? Of course I do. I think he's one of the best head coaches in the league. But it comes down to the players too. The NBA, again, I say this so many times. You could have a great coach, and we've seen Doc Rivers, Red Auerbach. We've seen so many great coaches in this league. Larry Brown. Larry Brown has been one of the best, most underrated coaches ever. But why doesn't he win a championship every year? Because he may not have the talent to win every year. That's all it comes down to. It comes to talent, chemistry, camaraderie, all those things. I don't think Woodson has control over their mistakes. I think it's more deep down inside with the Knicks. Can Carmelo take his guys to the promised land? Do I believe he can do that? I really do believe Carmelo Anthony can. But does he have the talent? I don't know. Does he have guys that will buy in defensively all the time in key critical stretches? I don't know. Can he calm J.R. Smith down? I don't know. And if you don't know, and if there's so many unknowns there, how are you going to be expected to win? And that's how I really view the New York Knicks and their team and what's going on there. So it's really a big issue there that needs to be fixed. And if they can't fix this issue, it will really hurt them in the long run. This is a great team that, to me, I've said this a lot. This is a great team. This is a very, very good team. I don't know if they can get it done. If you told me that the Knicks are going to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'd laugh. I'd laugh. Because this team just doesn't have the necessary tools, intangibles to get to that level. I don't know. Maybe they'll surprise us next year. Can they beat Chicago? I really don't think so. Can they beat Indiana? Certainly not. Can they beat the Heat? Certainly not. So the Knicks are in trouble. And I'll give you my LA Fitness rant in the show. But J.R. Smith reminds me of those LA Fitness guys. Really does. Really does. Let's go to some sad news. Kenny Anderson, former NBA All-Star. Man. According to SB Nation, Kenny Anderson was sexually abused twice as a child, including once by a person in the basketball coaching community. According to Rob Mahoney of NBA SI, Sports Illustrated, point forward. I'm going to read this little excerpt of this little piece here of what David Roth of SB Nation had to say. Kenny Anderson will say it. He was sexually abused in 2 separate instances and by 2 separate monsters during a harrowing early life that he will also tell you about. That life, ungoverned by a mother too addicted and conflicted to be much of a parent, then ungovernable by dint of the heavy freedom his talent for the game gave to him. did not prepare him for any kind of life but the one he'd suffer through. It bruised him, it bruised and broke him, as of course it would. It helped make him a person he no longer likes much or much resembles. He wants to talk about it now, all of it. When Anderson sat down to talk about all this, he had just finished a cruise with his wife, which they'd taken in part to prepare for what is happening now and what will happen next. This is not the sort of thing that gets said just once, and Anderson, whose career was not what it could have been by his own weary admission, but which was still what it was, will now have to talk about it, and talk about it, and talk about it, after decades of not. There's a video, I haven't seen it yet. It's just in sports, and to me, this is, again, I said this earlier on the show at the top of the hour. This is more, again, life. And it's unbelievable how parents are. Some parents. How Kenny had to go through. He could have even been better, but his parents held him back. And that's so sad for Kenny. And I just God bless for Kenny Anderson. And I feel I had no idea about this until recently, and I don't know how. And you know what's so great about Kenny coming out like this is that Kenny Anderson, deep down, and some of the interviews that I've seen him in and how he's personified himself, Kenny Anderson seems like to be a really good guy. And for such a terrible thing to happen, and you'd think that these terrible events and the behavior of these two monsters would shape that same monster into Kenny Anderson, but it really didn't. And it shows you how great and how headstrong and how mentally strong Kenny Anderson is. Because I don't think most Americans would be, or not just Americans, but just most people in general, would be able to go through such horrible instances, such horrifying events, and not shape into that same monster that those two evil people did to you. And for Kenny to talk about this and give those who have faced these type of experiences hope makes you feel really good about where, and this somehow has a little bit of a correlation to the game of basketball, because you know what, while they make fun of the superstars, while they make fun of so many people, or we talk about, oh, this guy makes too much money, oh, we criticize this guy, I've criticized this guy, they don't, you hear so many people say, oh, these are goons who, they don't get an education, they don't do this, they don't contribute to society, they don't do. But when you have a guy like Kenny Anderson who comes out, it's time to hush. And even for me, who criticizes. And what Kenny did was right on. Right on. And I hope kids, players, anyone will learn from his experiences. And it's on SB Nation if you want to see the video. YouTube, Kenny Anderson. Wow. Fortunately, I've been pretty blessed with everything, so I feel, I've never had these experiences happen to me, so I can't say, I speak from experience and all that. No, I can't say that. But what I can say is that he's a great example. And it's unfortunate, and we talk about, and I always want to connect, whenever we have these topics or things that we talk on the show, I always want to relate it back to the whole big picture. In all of sports, the world, everything going on in society. And what Anderson does is he gives hope to what many call bad people in the NBA. He gives hope to those who have experienced this. And Kenny Anderson should be celebrated, and Kenny Anderson should be applauded for what he's done. I'm very proud of Kenny Anderson. Very proud of Kenny Anderson for coming out like this. And I think it's unfair at times that we call NBA players bad people all the time. Now, I heard Charles Barkley, he made that commercial, NBA players aren't role models, we're just here to dunk a basketball, create havoc, all that. Is he right? Yes. But we can take these bits and pieces from these athletes and say, hey, this is a good example. We can take something from Kenny Anderson. We can take something from Donovan McNabb. We don't have to be attached to them. I can take something from Kobe Bryant. Hey, Colorado, Kobe, no. But can I take his competitive heart and use that to drive myself every day? Can I use... Hey, LeBron James, he's had some... he didn't go to college, but can I take his leadership in what he does in the game and make that element and take that element and make myself better? Yes. So what I say is we need to take more positive in life, especially in the game of basketball. You hear so many people, Dwight Howard's a blank, blank, blank. Dwight Howard's well, I'm not going to say the word, but they say girl. Look, you know what I'm getting to. You hear you say, LeBron James is a wimp. It's way worse than that. Kobe Bryant's a blank. Kobe Bryant, Michael. Let's see here. You hear so many. We should take the positive and fuel that for us. And sometimes I feel like what Kenny did, and I think he believes that he has an obligation to help these people who are going through this. And Kenny, I'm supporting you right on. Some people say you should keep that stuff private. You shouldn't say that. That's meaningless, useless junk. No. Kenny, if no one's supporting you, well, there's a guy named Cameron Sadeghi on an online radio show with probably 2 people listening that supports you. So, Kenny, I'm right with you. Let's move on to some other quick news. And then I got a little rant for you. Scola, Pacers, we talked about this yesterday. 3-player trade. The Pacers are sending Gerald Green, Miles Plumlee, lottery first-round pick to the rebuilding Suns. The Pacers have put themselves in a position where, you know what? I think the Indiana Pacers are a championship team. I think that the Indiana Pacers, you know what? The Indiana Pacers, wouldn't be surprised if they win the NBA championship. They've got everything Miami doesn't have. A huge front line. Luis Scola, one of the more underrated power forwards in this game. Fundamentally sound, tough, heart, grit, competitor, smarts. The whole package. He has it. Jumper, 15 feet out. Perfect. So, Scola, I believe in Scola and the crew there. So, Scola, company, Pacers, Granger now there. The sky's the limit. I'm going to use Steve Nash's words or Kobe Bryant. The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit for the Indiana Pacers. And now, yes, a rant. Okay, I've been going to LA Fitness with a few people playing basketball. Gotta say, LA Fitness players, I mean, they are, I swear, you know those videos, I don't know if some of you know what these videos are. It's called Don't Be That Guy. Don't Be That Guy. It's a YouTube channel. There are a few, it's like Don't Be That Guy at the gym, Don't Be That Guy at the pool, and it's really, they're some funny videos. Don't be that guy at LA Fitness. Don't be that guy who doesn't play defense, takes threes, complains at everyone, gets in others' grill, calls everything a foul. I mean, you could just barely touch the guy, and he's acting like Kobe Bryant in the fourth quarter, flailing his arms up and down. Don't be that guy who just stands on one side of the floor, doesn't play offense or defense for 3/4 of the game, but when it really matters most, he feels like he needs to be the savior, jack up a 35-footer, brick it off the front iron, come back down, get a steal, go all Rex Chapman from 30 feet out, pull up for a three, and bank it in to win the game. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy who doesn't pass anybody the ball. Don't be that guy who every single time you turn it over, you blame your teammate, even if he wasn't even 10 feet away from you. He still blames it on you. And don't, and I mean don't, be that guy who just completely cheats in the game. I mean, seriously. You made a three. Well, they count it 2s and 1s in LA Fitness basketball. And street ball, they count it 2s and 1s. Don't be the guy who knows, okay, we're doing 2s and 1s, but you still count it a 3 when it was tied so you can put your team over the top. And then you have a huge argument. Everyone goes crazy. Everyone gets mad at you. And then likes to fight guy comes out of nowhere and completely clocks you. Don't be that guy. You gotta go see those Don't Be That Guy videos. Especially the gym one was hilarious. You know the coach at the gym? You get that guy, got his gloves on, glasses, sporty glasses, short shorts, shirt, maybe bearded, telling you what to do and why you need to be committed to what you're doing. You get all those guys all over the place, but then when you look at them, they're doing everything wrong. Don't be that guy. Especially at LA Fitness. Everyone thinks they're like Dwight Howard. Hey, give me the ball. I'm in the post, dude. Give me the ball. No, you're not open. You were double teamed by 2 people that were 2 feet taller than you and would have swatted your shot all the way down the other side of the court. Dude, I was open. And don't be that. I mean, we could do these don't be that. I mean, you... Especially, like, pickup basketball. Every single time... Like, okay, I'll admit it. I've been on some good pickup basketball teams. Should have stayed with them, though. I hate it when they, like, switch up the teams. You're on such a good team. Everyone's playing the right way. Everyone's, getting involved. Winning a ton of games. And then all of a sudden, let's switch it up, guys. No, I didn't want to switch it up. I wanted to stay with this team so I can dominate you and beat you, embarrass you. LA Fitness guys have got to be arguably the worst players. Like, come on. Nothing's worse than, okay, I'll admit it. LA Fitness, it is fun, but it's fun to think about all these guys. Like, there was this guy who, he thought he was Russell Westbrook. Dude, you're a 45-year-old dude wearing New Balance shoes, trying to go inside, and you think everything's a foul, and then every time you finish, you jog back acting like you're the best in the world. You're not. You're wearing New Balance shoes. You're playing in a Southern California indoor gym with no air conditioning. Stop acting like you're the best guy in the world. Seriously. Or that guy who thinks he's, let me see. Which guy was really funny? Oh yeah, the guy, the black hole. I call this guy the black hole. Okay, this guy was standing at half court, demanding the ball, and then he'd give you a glaring look like you just committed a crime because you didn't share the rock. Dude, I was wide open from 35 feet out. I was just going to do my Jamal Crawford crossover in between the legs and jack up this 35-footer. Why didn't you give me the ball? Because it's a bad shot. No, give me the ball. Those guys at LA Fitness drive me crazy. There's a guy at a local gym here playing like that. Standing at half court, and then when you play defense, you say, why don't you get back on defense? Why don't you get back on defense? What are you talking about? You're the one who's standing at half court asking for the ball, and then when you do get the ball, you tell everyone, get out of my way and let me go. Half the time it gets in, he'll bank in the three, and half the time he clanks it so bad that people all the way across the gym can even hear the clank. It's worse than Shaq's free throws. And those are like grenades at the rim. Like Clank Fu, grenades at the rim, that's what the LA Fitness guys are. Or this LA Fitness guy standing to get rebounds, standing in the key for like a half hour. I know there isn't 3 seconds, but come on. And then he's floating around the 3-point line, taking tough shots, making them, and then completely bulldozes his way to the rim, trying to run over everybody, including me. Dude, you got like 200-pound advantage over me. Stop trying to run everybody over to the rim. Settle for 35-footers. Don't try to run people over and make them go to the ambulance. LA Fitness guys. Unbelievable. NFL Goal Line with Nick and maybe me later today on Spreaker.com. Yes, I'm going to do 2 shows today. Probably. Just probably. Thanks for listening. NBA Today with Cameron Sadeghi. You can still listen to it later on, if you want, or you should, or else I'll jump through that computer screen and tackle you. No, I won't do that. But listen to it, and listen to our other shows on Spreaker.com. National Sports. And can I fit one more rant? Yeah. I don't know if any of you know who Caden Calgar is on Spreaker.com. Look, I'm not gonna like get mad. He's like the same age as me or whatever. He's like one of those teen superstar radio guys who just says things to aggravate people. Well, he has a YouTube channel, and I don't know how this guy... I mean, we should have more views than him. You know what? I'm going to make a bet, especially with that guy. We're going to have, as a channel, more views than that guy. There's no way. He talks politics for how long? Like 2 hours? And we have how many people do shows here? Like 10, 15 people do shows here? We're going to get more ratings than this guy. I'm making it a challenge on Spreaker. So, Caden Calgar, wherever you are, look out. We're coming right after you. Hard. And we're going to come through. So, NBA Today with Cameron Sadeghi. You can always listen to it later. Or if you did listen to it right now, thank you. And like always, hasta luego.